here we go. We are moving on to the Nexus for this recast here of what I believe is Bambuxled versus NAAS. I'm not entirely sure how that is pronounced. We see that people, I guess they were trolling in chat, it would seem. So anyway, in the left corner for Bambuxled, as it were, we have a Mick QC up top on the Sonya. We have Li Ming being played by Lee, Mr. Christie on the Malfurion, Messiah on Murden, and Biddy Toe on Vala. And over in the right corner for NAAS, or NAAS, however it is pronounced, we have Mockery on Tassadar, the main reason we're watching this particular game. Super Boss Guy on the Zarya, Gilderic on Greymane, Waffle Copter on Rhaegar, and Wales on the Artana. So just looking at these two comps right off the bat, the most interesting thing to note is that if you do look at the team for NAAS here, it's really interesting that their composition has no main tank and both of the shielders. You have both Zarya and Tassadar, so it's going to make it really easy for Greymane to kind of have his way with the other team. And then we also have the Artanis, who will be the solo club. That's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on there, how well that ends up working out. So it looks like it's actually, I was expecting them to send Wales to the top lane and try to set up against the Zarya. I'm actually going to have to do a pause real quickly just because my game audio is super loud and it's actually kind of distracting me. So I'm going to try to turn that down just a little bit there. My apologies for having to pause the action, but it's going to be really frustrating if I keep having to... Oops, hold on. I also have to move over here. So this is already off to a fantastic start. Hopefully that won't be too big of an issue. I guess it must be the replay client or whatever has a different volume setting, so it'll take me a second to get this worked out. I apologize for that. That sounds much better. So anyway, it's actually going to be Tassadar and the solo and the Sonya. Really interesting. I guess they're kind of just giving it up in a particular sense. They're holding on. In the meantime, in the bot lane, super aggression coming out. I didn't think they would actually drop that low. As we saw, the ball didn't end up falling. Really strong early game aggression from NAAS here. Being able to take out that ball in this form. And we'll see some friendly beast stuff coming out. You probably know each other to a certain degree. Still very much hard to hear you. I don't know what the... Alright, so yeah, you guys can let me know. I'm going to keep turning the volume down. I assume it's because the client's different, so I decreased it again. I also took out the delay since this game started, so let me know how that sounds. So anyway, just moving back into things, it looks like Mockery's actually doing a pretty decent job top lane versus the Sonya, despite the fact his wave clear should be a little bit weaker, especially considering he did not go Sight Infusion at 1. Just a quick reminder that this is pre-nerf Tassadar. This patch was a while back. I think it was about a month ago. So this is just going to be... If I can stop audio a little bit loud, yeah, I'm just going to have you guys tell me what's going on. What the problem is. But anyway, so yeah, this is a pre-nerf Tassadar, so it's going to not have the shield changes on the Q, even though it is actually temporarily picked up at all on. So I need to take it down because it's really loud. Alright, I'm actually going to pause it again. Apparently that didn't fix it. Let me actually just go to the options real quickly. I don't know if maybe that's what's going on here. Let's just crank the master volume way down. Alright, and see how that sounds. So, yeah, just keep, my apologies once more. I guess the replay client has different options than the regular one, so let me know if that's any better. It looks better in my OBS, so hopefully that'll do the trick. Oh my god. How did I lock my camera? There we go, much better. Alright, so I toned it down. Let me know how that sounds as we move into the second part of the Immortal phase. It's definitely much better on my end, but it's still kind of loud, so I just need constant feedback of you. I would appreciate it a lot, just so I can make sure that I'm not blowing anyone's eardrums out and that you guys can actually hear me. So anyway, we see that the first Immortal is taken over by NAAS. They actually also have a pretty strong race comp, all things considered. Actually, mainly a function of, so it's Greymane, Rhaegar, and Artanis. I need to pause it again. That still sounds loud even on my end. I don't know what the deal is there. We'll crank that down, way down there. Alright, I feel like that's probably not loud enough, but it might be. So once again, just let me know how that sounds so that I can, another 10% lower. Is that 10% as from where it is now? Alright, so right now it's at 20%. Let me know if it needs to go up or down from there, because it's like, it's still a little bit loudish. But anyway, so we see the first Immortal phase going over to NAAS here. So mainly if you look at the racers, it's going to be Rhaegar, Greymane, and Artanis versus mostly just Vala and Li Ming. I suppose Sonya is not the best racer, especially if you don't end up going a follow through at 7, but Sonya's actually holding her level 7 talent, so we don't know quite yet what is going to be picked up there. If we are, or excuse me, level 4 talents being held, so we don't know if it is going to be Whirlwind or if it's going to be Focused Attack selected. Okay, so it is going to be focused attacks, so it is going to be an auto attack build, it looks like, coming through for the Sonya. This also might have even been, no, I think this was after the Sonya changes. I don't know exactly what patch this is on, unfortunately, but something else that's really interesting to see picked up here is that Mockery is going Kala's Embrace, so going the additional life steal there. They're really just doing everything they can to try to keep the Greymane alive there. Speaking of Greymane going deep on the Vala there, Vala eating a little too much free damage. Greymane able to jump in and finish that off pretty easily. We see Missia went in, but they are 3v4, so they cannot really afford to do that. They are going to get forced back with a little bit of help there from the Zarya. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, once again, I'm actually pretty impressed with Mockery's ability to wave clear against the Tassadar, especially, or excuse me, Mockery is the Tassadar, against the Sonya, especially considering it is Psy Infusion. That is kind of enables that, being able to spam your W a little more effectively, but honestly, Mockery's also been getting a lot of free auto attack damage on the Sonya as well, so it has that constant mana regen there for those of you that don't know, when you're attacking with that, it restores 8 mana per second, so yeah, the combination of Psy Infusion with that auto attack to just constantly put pressure on the mid QC there is doing really big wonders for Mockery here and enabling him to actually land against Sonya, which is not something you see very often. So in the meantime, in the top lane, the 4-man is also turning out to be really strong for them, having Zarya to enable the Greymane to dive, even without any really hard CC. Like, the only CC on the team is like the slow from the Rhaegar, and then the swap maybe from Artanis, if you want to count it. So they don't really have the means to lock people down, but the backline is just so squishy in this 4-man here, since they only have Muradin in the front, who's just having to eat a whole bunch of damage. Like, he can walk in for a while and then jump back out, especially with help of third wind. But when he does so, there's no one that is protecting Malphite, Ming, and Vala from the pressure of this front line right here, which can go really deep, considering they're all kind of pseudo-melee, with Greymane being able to jump to the melee form, Zarya being a ranged character, technically speaking, but have a pretty short range overall. So anyway, level 7 hit just about for Bambuxel. We'll grab it pretty quickly. 7 has been hit by NAAS here. So they're going to move on to this Immortal phase. It looks like it is going to be defense from Bambuxel coming out, I think. We see aggressive positioning coming out from NAAS. They're going to try to find an inroad here. They are maybe trying to initiate good positioning on Li Ming here, being able to get lots of free orbs in, but it doesn't matter, as Muradin is actually taken down with a little bit of help from Whale's swap. Whales does drop really low, but the damage isn't going to be there. Even with the help from the noob circle, the shield is right on time. We'll be able to keep him alive. Super Boss Guy is low, but so is McQC and Benito, so neither of them are going to be able to get, I guess, they pushed him off, so I suppose that's value, technically speaking. Both teams actually have pretty decent out-of-fight healers, so if Rhaegar had mana, he could have healed it up and they could have gone back in, but didn't even have enough mana to use Chain Heal, so he actually will be retreating, so they're just going to mount kind of a brief 3-man defense here, try to mitigate as much enemy damage as they can. Oh, the swap, so the swap does swap onto a circle, but that's still going to put Sonya really out of position. Nice spear in order to get out, actually, so they will be able to escape with relative ease. I actually see Ferocious Healing picked up as well, so Sonya going more sustain-oriented as opposed to damage with that level 7 talent. So we see that NAAS is trying to find a way back in, just so much pressure to Muradin. They just don't really seem to have a way to stop it. Oh, the swap doesn't quite hand. Good dodge there from Missia. He is able to get out of the way. Mortal drop to about 3/4 health, so they're going to keep on trying. I think that Sonya and Greymane should be able to do it, especially with Artanis getting in those amateur opponent procs there. Good dodge there from Gilderoy, being able to avoid the damage from the Li Ming. We see Missia trying to go in, but he's super low, manages to jump out at the last second. The Li Ming is not as fortunate. Good swap there onto Muradin. Mouth falls simultaneously. Will Sonya be able to do anything at all? No, she won't. And so that is 4 kills, as well as the first Immortal phase over for NAAS. They decide to pick up this Bruiser while they're here. At some point, they will need to migrate over to this Immortal, but they feel like they have plenty of time right now, despite being pretty low. We see people complimenting each other in chat. Oh, that's so nice, seeing teams being nice to each other. So anyway, they're moving to this Immortal. Should be able to burn that down pretty quickly. Gilderoy is actually going back, even though he's arguably the best racer. They decide that they have enough damage here with the 4 of them that they will not need his help, so he can go back and get full mana. Something else to note is that it's actually auto tech build Greymane, who also picked up Wizened Duelist at 7, so definitely pretty confident with his ability to stay alive with the help of Tassadar. Greymane going that full auto attack build. Something else to mention, actually, I didn't actually know this for a while, is that Wizened Duelist attack damage increases basic attack damage in all forms. For a long time, I thought it was just the Worgen form, because I kind of assumed that you'd have, like, you know, the human one, Quicksilver Bullets gives human range, then Wizened Duelist would give Worgen damage, but it actually just gives damage, period, 3% per kill, stacking kind of like the Gathering Tower stacks, or I think that's what it is, Gathering Tower. So anyway, Lee had really aggressive positioning there, just trying to get some hope, did have teleport up to jump over the wall. Immortal has been moving towards this fort, the wall is down, the shields are still up, so we'll be able to take this pretty easily. Vala and Mouth both caught in the noob circles there. Benito is going to go down, I think, with just one more Q there. Yes, he will. Muradin also fell while trying to peel, so They're just kind of eating it up there. The Purifier Beam going down on Mr. Christie, just trying to basically maybe secure the kill. I think he will be able to survive with a little bit of help from his healing there. Something else that I also want to take note of, because it's picked a lot by Mockery, is he did end up going the Force Wall build. This is also prior to the buff, so back before it got the cooldown reduction, as well as I believe the mana reduction in the most recent patch. It's currently on 10-second cooldown, or excuse me, in the patch. Oh my goodness, someone just absolutely eviscerated there by Gilder. But is Gilder going to lose his stacks? Murden is trying to get the kill there. Looks like Rhaegar will be able to keep him alive, despite the fact that they're all really low on mana and health. All the members of NAAS have been doing an amazing job of just kind of juggling the aggro and not dying, especially with help from Zarya there. In the meantime, this 10 are still not available for Bambuxel. It's 9 to 12, so they're going to try to maybe find their way to core here. The Immortal, however, is down there. There's no way they can take it up, especially not with Sonya coming in to help out. But that being said, okay, so the stacks are gone. Gilderek is down. Mockery has arrived, but maybe a little too late. Ancestral comes out. Waffle Copper is low on health and mana, but it does not matter as Sonya is going to drop. Heroic still not up. There they are. Are they going to be able to snap pick quick enough? It doesn't look like it. Vala is going to fall. We see Li Ming and Murden are escaping through the left side there. And so things are not looking good at all from Bambuxel here. They've just eaten way too much damage. They're way too far behind that. They still have their top fort just barely, but they have basically no structures for themselves. This bot wall is completely up. A top wall as well is only taking very minimal amounts of damage. There's just not a lot they can do right now. I'm not sure if this is because of the situation they're in, or if it's just a favorite ability here, though we do see Haymaker is picked up by Murden, so that's a little unorthodox, but it's an interesting thing to see whether or not they'll be able to get any value out of that. Super Boss Guy may be looking for an expulsion zone. There's the Force Wall coming out from Mockery. Sonya is in deep. There's the expulsion zone, kind of zoning off Li Ming. They're not actually secluding anyone, though. Mick gets swapped back in. Missia dropping really low, does not have Avatar to stay alive. Twilight Dream comes out to try to peel, only land onto Artanis. Oh, we saw the Stormbolt as well, trying to keep them away. There's the Force Wall, secluding both Malfurion and Li Ming. 1-2, they both go down. Is Missia going to follow? Does have the Dwarf Toss to get away. Sonya as well should be able to escape right there. They're looking like they might want to go core. They've all in this area, so they're not pushing anywhere else. They did manage to get 6% damage last time. They're all full health and full mana, with the exception of Wales, who's about half mana right now. It is unflowing pretty much all of it, so he does need to preserve a little bit of that to try to get amateur opponents off. They want core damage, but at the same time, all the members of Bambuxel are back up. The death timers are still really short right now. They're trying to get a kill onto this Sonya. We see Explosion Zone coming out, not quite able to seclude them, but it will be enough to help them get the kill on Murden there. They have to be careful pushing in against the Li Ming, considering that Li Ming is one of the best core defenders in the game, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe it'll be enough. These Cosmocamps and Catapults are both moving towards the core, doing a lot of damage there. Super Boss Guy dropping really low. Ancestral comes out. Wales is looking for the swap. He gets it on Mr. Christie, who goes down immediately. All 5 members of NAAS still up. Sonya's going to fall to Greymane, trying to get the kill on Lee as well, with a little bit of help there from the Force Wall, is able to do so. Waffle Copter going ham there on Benito, does not get the kill before the core falls, and that was a clean 10-minute game there on Battlefield of Eternity. Really decisive victory from NAAS there, and even though I'm still not sure it's the way to go, Mockery is making a pretty solid argument there for Force Walls if you know how to get them to work, if your team is ready to follow up with the damage. Worked really well for them there, being able to secure those kills, but at the same time, it's a little skeptical to claim whether or not a talent is really good or really bad when you already have such a huge advantage. What was apparently a bit of a difference in skill there, because NAAS won that without much trouble at all, so I'm not sure if that's going to convince me that Force Wall is the way to go. Oh, they're Archon. Archon is just such a strong team fight potential. Force Wall really does require that you get a nice seclusion, that you're kind of already winning the fight, or unless you catch someone. So it's great if you're trying to catch someone. Actually, in a fight is really only great for maybe isolating targets, kind of like splitting up the team, but even then I kind of feel like Archon's a little bit better. So it's mostly for trying to catch people that are running away to turn 1 kills into 2 or 3 or 4, or something along those lines. So I'm going to talk about the draft just really quickly. That's not Battlefield again, fancy that. So I'm going to talk about the draft really quickly, just pause it beforehand since I can kind of pseudo do that because I don't have the opportunity to actually talk about it during the draft phase, and then after that is over, I'll switch back into I'm actually casting a live game even though I'm not mode. So in the left corner, what have we got? So this is going to be more replay analysis, and then I'll just do regular casting once we move into it. So on the left, we have Arthas, Artanis, Zeratul, Vala, and Lucio for in AAS, so that's an interesting comp. I think that's pretty solid for this map. Arthas is really strong, both in the Immortal phase. I mean, his ability to kind of slow people down, prevent them from escaping, just provides really strong CC. If you can root someone on an Immortal circle, that's really good. And then also you have the option to go Sing Dragosa if you want to really implement that Immortal push, kind of be like a pseudo Sylvanas in that sense. We also have the Artanis, who's one of the best characters on this map, basically because of the just immense amount of damage that amateur opponent adds to that Immortal race. We have Vala, you go Hungering Arrow build, also excellent race. Zeratul actually does decent auto damage damage. So not something I see very often on Battlefield, but I definitely feel like it could be played well here. And then the Lucio, who is just generally a really strong support right now. If you're on a map like Battlefield, where so let's actually look. So there's like a lot of walls here, so there's lots of opportunity for him to get that movement speed if he decides, well, both from his trait and if he decides to go with Celerando, and then also just in general, if you're going to have a lot of concentrated fights, Lucio's really strong. If you're on Dragon Shrine, there's a lot of rotations. Not quite as good if you're on Battlefield, and all of your people are going to be really close together a lot of the time. You get a whole lot of value. And then for the other team, which is TL Matchmaking, I believe, what do we have? So we have Lost Vikings. I didn't see that. That's really interesting. I'm wondering if they're the solo laner. I've actually heard tales of back when Braxis first came out and people just didn't know how to deal with Rexar. This was like back before, like you had like Sonya was really strong before Ragnaros came out. So they weren't quite as big of a deal. There was actually like the ideas, like the way you beat Rexar in lane, like one of the theories was you could just run 3-man Vikings, and anybody who's played against it, if it's done really well, knows that 3-man Vikings is actually a pretty strong laner. So that's what I anticipate to see here, especially considering I don't really see another strong solo laner for the other team. So I'm really excited for that, to see if it works out for them. I actually think we might end up seeing more of that when Hanamura comes out. It's a 2-lane map, and so I don't know exactly how it's going to break out, if it's going to be a 2-3 lane, a 1-4 lane, or how exactly that's going to work. I anticipate it'll probably be more of a 2-3, but only time will tell. We won't actually know till it comes out. And it's been out for a while to see if a particular meta develops. So I expect that's going to be Vikings in the top lane. That's really interesting. But outside of that, we have a pretty regular team comp. So you have Johanna being the tank, Greymane kind of being the pseudo bruiser, Malth obviously the healer, and Li Ming for your range damage, which couples well with Greymane, who does more sustain with a bit of burst, and then Li Ming is burst with a bit of sustain, if that makes any sense at all. So good racing on both teams. I think this is going to be a good match to watch. So now that I've kind of talked about the draft a little bit, we'll just jump into me pretending like the game is still going. So let's hit the play button there, zoom out, and in the left corner for a NAAS, we have Super Boss Guy on Artanis, Wales on the, oh my goodness, it's Arthas. For whatever reason, that skin throws me off. We have a Diamond Neil there on the Zeratul, a Waffle Copter on the Vala, and Mockery playing the Lucy. I believe Waffle Copter on the last game we watched was on the Rhaegar, so an impressive flex player, it would seem. And in the right corner for TL Matchmaking, we have Dropless on Li Ming, Brenarius on the Johanna, From Gore on Malfurion, Rusdid on the Greymane. I may have played against that guy before, and Hoshi Baba on the Vikings, so that'll be really exciting. Looking at the talents, it is going to be a Celerando picked up for Lucio, which is a bit unsurprising, usually the more technical Lucios, and we'll actually go for that over we move together, just as you can stay on those walls. It lets you be just super annoying, super slippery, and pretty overall just a pretty good talent. And then nothing really unsurprising, pretty standard talents we see coming out. Vorpal Blade for the Zeratul, Monster Hunter for Vala, Amateur Opponent for Artanis. We see the W Quest for Arthas, so nothing too interesting. The most interesting thing I think is probably the block for the Lost Vikings. Or no, is that Ultra Stout? Well, it's block. Yeah, it's basically block. And so it is going to be the Viking solo top lane versus Artanis. So we'll have to keep an eye on that lane. Just come back up from time to time, see how that works. It's my understanding you basically just want to basically kind of juggle aggro with the Vikings, just rotate them in and out, especially Olaf when you can. And since Artanis has kind of limited AoE damage, that actually might be difficult for him to deal with, especially to outpush the Balog splash damage. So I'm in the 4-man. What do we got going on? So both teams have a frontliner. Both teams have two kind of bruisers. Zeratul and Greymane both kind of do and don't qualify as bruisers, just kind of due to the nature of their kit. Even though they actually have decent, like Greymane actually has a pretty high health pool overall, and has that additional 10 armor and Worgen form. So we see, oh my goodness, I thought that was actually going to be good harass there onto the Greymane, but Zeratul ate some Li Ming damage in the process. But both Malfurion and Lucio are incredibly good sustainers in lane, and so neither of them will have any problem healing up people. So unless someone actually dies in that fight, I think it's going to be really unlikely that either team kind of gets worked too low over time. I also just realized that there's a huge spoiler here. Maybe I shouldn't have drawn attention to it. Did I make this go away? Okay, I have no idea how to make that go away, so we're just going to have to deal with it. Anyway, so we see the first Immortal phase is going to start. This is actually an interesting moment for the team with the Vikings, that you might actually get to see a little bit more value here. And that you can have, basically you can have Balog pushing top, you send Eric bot lane since he has the most movement speed, and then you have Olaf who can kind of help out a little bit. I think that's what you want to do, because he's more of a frontliner. He can give a little bit of a tanking thing. The other option would be to have Eric solo, but no, they're actually not going to send him bot lane, so they're just going to have one Viking soak, spin the other one DPSing, which, considering the fact that Eric does have the highest DPS among Vikings, unless you get the auto attack talent, I believe at level 4 for Lost Vikings, it's not the same. But anyway, actually we see some action breaking out in the bot lane while I was talking about that. We see that Li Ming was taken out. Brenarius is going to follow suit, just already seeing a little bit of the lethal combination here from Lucio and Arthas. Just Arthas doesn't really have any way to lock someone down if he can't get to them. Like, you have your root, but that's about it, and depending on your range from them, you might not be able to get into slow range, especially if they have movement abilities of their own. When you couple that with a Lucio, it makes it much easier for him to get in and for them to just do a lot of damage. So we see them being able to Diamond Kneel there, taking out the Eric. I'm getting a little bit of EXP there. Despite the fact that they have lost kills, that they're 2-0, having Balog in that top lane is allowing them to get a little bit of extra side soak, which is some value. And the Immortal is actually relatively even. We see Greymane trying to get the kill on Zeratul. They're not quite able to do so. A pretty good 4-man defense here being metered out by NAAS as Vala and now Zeratul are moving to finish off the Immortal. They're actually managing to pressure off Greymane, even with Malfurion there to heal him up. So they are going to be able to secure that Immortal, which is going to move towards the top lane. So going to push into that lane that Balog is currently in. So they are sending... Oh, they're going to send one of the Vikings bot lane, I do believe. Looks like it's going to be Olaf to soak against the Artanis. So this is still like super early on. I don't imagine that they're going to be able to get a fort out of this just because the shield is low enough. I suppose it's technically possible, but it seems unlikely just because of the fact that this wall is still pretty healthy. So something else interesting is that we actually see Eric the Swift taken, which is something that I'm not a huge fan of personally, even though I'm not exactly a Vikings main by any means, but I did play him a lot back when I first started just for fun. But it's definitely a valuable talent if you're going to have Eric maybe in a solo lane because it allows him to harass a lot more effectively. It gives him a form of sustain that he otherwise does not have. So just an interesting talent choice there. We don't really see enough Vikings, in my opinion, in the general sense, for me to get a good feel on the talent. But I don't remember the last time I saw Vikings, just because if you're on guard and he just gets banned out so much. I feel like he maybe showed up, the Vikings maybe showed up in HGC not too long ago, but I don't know him well enough to really say a yay or nay on that talent choice. So anyway, we see them going for the top Khazra camp here. Benares posting a little bit forward, going to try to keep him out. It looks like they will be able to secure it. Looking for a little bit more there as the Malfruit comes out, but they're just able to walk away there. So 7 and right around the corner for both teams. The Immortal will be spawning before too terribly long. Will they be able, will TL Matchmaking rather be able to get a lot of value out of this Khazra camp? I do not know. They gonna try to maybe knock down this front wall, get a little bit back on EXP. Olaf does appear to be struggling in the bot lane versus Artanis. The super boss guy is able to just walk up and take those towers for free. Olaf just can't do anything. Like you're not doing enough damage to even like really knock off the shield. So anyway, back in the top lane, we see a Root coming out on the Vala. Are they able to secure the kill? Yes, they will. A little bit of help from Greymane there. Li Ning is able to end that, and so they managed to get a kill out of it. But will they be able to transition that into anything else, especially considering how much value they're losing for free in the bot lane, as the well is going to go down as well? Hilarious. So they're going to get the top well. Oh, nice 4-man root there from the Arthas. I mean, 2 of them were Vikings, but it still counts. But alas, with Vala dead, they weren't able to really follow up there, and so they only managed to shove them off and get rid of this Khazra camp. So anyway, 7s for both teams, where they're going to start moving down for the Immortal phase to begin. Are they going to be able to pick up their bruisers? It looks like NAAS is going for theirs. Is TL Matchmaking doing the same? No, they're not. They're just in a defensive positioning here. Are they? They look like they're a little indecisive. They don't really know where to go right now, so they're just losing a lot of free time that they could have been taking this bruiser camp. They're finally going on it. That's going to be some free damage over to the Immortal, since only Li Ning and Malfurion are in a position to defend. Oh man, Super Boss Guy was going to go for the swap there, but wound up getting knocked and stunned by the Immortal, so it looked like it may have broken the sequencing a little bit. And so we see Johanna going and trying to find a kill on the Vala with help from Li Ning in the back line. Nice root there on the Artanis. Will they be able to secure the kill? Yes, they will. So they're going to try to find some more, especially with the Li Ning resets, but there's a pretty strong disengage there with Arthas. Lucio going to be pretty tricky to follow, and so it looks like they're going to be able to get out instead of going on the Immortal. Greymane, my friend, you're standing on the Swickle, buddy. Eric, you're doing the same. Oh my god, there's half your health there. Watch out. You gotta watch out. In the meantime, we do see that Olaf... Oh, hold on. So Balog died. I guess he was soaking in the top. Or at least he was in that vicinity. I was going to take a look at Olaf, see that they do have Olaf in the bot lane to slowly but surely try to work his way on that bruiser. Not doing a whole lot of damage there, though. So it looks like this Immortal will most likely go over to TL Matchmaking, but NAAS does have super strong race there with Vala and Zeratul. So there, we see Johanna trying to slow it down as best she can. Looks like it was going to be enough with that little bit of disruption with Condemn and... Flashlight. I don't know what else. I don't know what it's actually called. It's the E button. I just call it the flashlight. With the flashlight there to blind the members of NAAS to be able to slow it down just a wee bit, so they will be able to secure that Immortal. But a Super Boss Guy looks like he won a little bit more. Wasn't able to land the swap Mockery there, eating that orb for free, but being on Lucio should be able to heal it up relatively easily. So advantage has gone over to TL Matchmaking as they are up a full level and will have the opportunity to really push with, like, kind of 5 people, but not really, because it's like 2 Vikings. I don't really know how to count that, as Balog soaks the top versus Artanis. But it looks like Balog actually might go down there to the Artanis. Looks like he's barely going to be able to get out, and does not have the lifesteal talent, so he will not be able to sustain against the Artanis, being forced to basically just kind of chill, go back, and get some health there. So in the meantime, they have moved on to the fort. Are they going to be able to get the kill on Mockery? Leeming tried with Wave of Force. They are going to be able to secure it. Vala ends up being dropped as well, getting pulled into the root there by Condemn. And so, as I was about to say, we also see Heroics picked up, so I didn't get to mention, oh, Shield Glare, thanks, Kendo. It's Shield Glare, not Flashlight. So the Heroics we see picked up, we see Go for the Throat on the Greymane, Twilight Dream on the Malfurion, Blessed Shield on the Johanna, Wave of Force on the Ning, and Vikings holding there. So deciding between play again and the Longboat, Viking Longboat, I think is the full name of the talent, which is actually an interesting decision, because on like split maps like Garden of Terror, if you pick up on Dragonshire, even Towers of Doom, you really want that revive, because it allows you to split soak a lot more effectively without having to worry about someone dying. But on Battlefield, like, they're split soaking now, but as the game progresses, it's going to be more and more likely that they're going to have to stay grouped when you're not going to get as much side value when all the forts are down, when keeps have dropped, unless you're just deep pushing with one of them. So I think they might actually go Longboat, and it looks like they're going to hold it until they need it. Like, neither of those Heroics is something that you really need to like pull out at the spur of the moment. And so you can really afford to hold it. If like 2 of them die and you want to bring them back, you grab the thing. If the fight's about to break out, then you can go Longboat. So it does look like Olaf is going to die there. Eric was able to escape. His cooldowns are still relatively short though, so that's definitely not a reason to snap pick the play again there. He will have to pick it eventually. As 13s roll around, he's going to have to not be able to get value from that. So it looks like it is play again that was taken there. In the meantime, in the top lane, Super Boss Guy almost died, but it looks like Leeming there got jebaited and was taken down with a little bit of help from the keep. I want to talk about the Heroics picked up for NAAS here. We see Sound. Oh, hold on. Void Prison comes out though. So speaking of Heroics that came out, we see the Void Prison was one from Twilight Dream, silences everyone, but doesn't do that much damage as it was mitigated by the sound barrier. We see that they are trying to escape. Johanna looks like she is going to go down. The fort is not there, so if they manage to get a catch with nails to maybe, I don't know, Sting Dragosa, they are going to be in deep trouble here as Greymane drops as well. Excellent execution there, even though they did fall behind. Really good job of getting those counter kills, killing all 4 members that weren't Vikings of TL matchmaking there with their Heroic, which I was about to talk about. Amazing Void Prison to start that out on the Zeratul, Rain of Vengeance on the Ball, Suppression Pulse on the Artanis to help with the race, Summon Singed Dragosa on the Arthas to get that push value, and Sound Barrier on the Lucio. So speaking of Immortals, the next Immortal phase did start, and so they are going to get a really nice advantage there. Ooh, it looks like there might have been a DC as well, as Droplets left the game, that being the Li Ming player for TL matchmaking. There we see all the chat coming out, since the pauses don't get recorded in the things, it would seem. So anyway, we're moving back into it as the Immortal is about, oh my goodness, it is dropping super fast there. Our Thomas wasn't even there and they were just dropping it. That's just the power of all, as we can see. Blessed Shield came out trying to kill a Mockery. He is going to go down. Super Boss Guy going on Malfurion, going to try to finish off the Immortal as best he can. Suppression Pulse comes out that will stop the auto damage. Will he have enough time? He's getting knocked away, so it doesn't look like it. He is going to fall, but the Immortal is pretty low, only having 3,600 health, and so they are going to have to be pushed back here. That's going to be a pretty mean defense they're going to have to mount, though. They really can't divert that many people. Looks like it's going to be Li Ming, kind of, and Greymane that they send down to take care of this. So will they be able to get it? I don't know. They're waiting. So Lucio is just now respawning. Artanis isn't there yet. Arthas is dropping pretty low. He does not have army, but Vala is there to help out a little bit. We see Diamond Neil's also in the vicinity. Does have Void Prison available. So he's going to maybe look for an engage. I'm not quite sure what the plan is here for NAAS. It looks like they're just going to wait till all the members are ready and then go try to finish it off. Greymane is trying to kill the Immortal, but he's not being super successful right now. Arthas actually did end up dropping. Vala is throwing in those Qs, trying to finish it off. It has 2,100 life left. We see the sound barrier coming out and actually landing on the Arthas. Will he be able to secure it? And it looks like with the help... Oh my goodness, that was a really close one there. It looks like the Immortal is actually going to go over to NAAS. They just barely got 224 health. They lose pretty much everyone in the process. Everyone but Lucio died there. And I think he may have actually died earlier, so a big commitment in terms of lives, but at least they were able to secure the Immortal, so they're not all dead and have an Immortal pushing. So now it's going to be up to TL matchmaking in order to clear it out. But considering they have a Viking, they have no problem at all sending someone to split soak the top lane, and they should be able to clear this out. I don't know if it'll be enough to kill the fort. I think it will be, just because of how weak the fort already is. It will be able to secure at least that, it does look like, but it is dropping super fast. It's going to need one more auto, and it is not going to get it. So one auto shy of clearing the fort. It's basically dead. It's just going to take a member of NAS to walk up there and breathe on it for it to fall. But they need to have the opportunity to do so, especially considering the fact that they are down 2 levels right now. So a Cosmic Cape attempt here by Teal Matchmaking. You see the invade coming in, swap on a Frumgore. We see an Ice Block coming out. He's able to dodge the Singed Dragosa, but are they going to be able to get anything else out of it? Waiting for the Twilight Dream. Is it going to come out? And Twilight Dream is still on cooldown, so we are not going to see it. However, Zeratul does drop to Greymane in the back. We see Greymane, however, is going to eventually fall there with a little help from the Arthas. Bernarius is in deep, will be unable to escape there on that Johanna. And so that is going to be all members except for, oh, we're going to lose Eric too. Yes, we are. So all members except for Baylog in the top lane and Eric are going to die there with that nice invade from NAAS, only losing Zeratul in the process. All 3 Vikings did spawn top though, so they actually might be able to get some decent damage onto this fort here themselves. That being said though, they had to watch out because it looks like they might actually try for a keep. NAS is going pretty ham. All 4 members except for Zeratul are still in the vicinity, and they have the Causer come to push for them, so they might just settle for wall. It depends on when the Immortal is going to spawn. So it looks like they're going to try to grab it. They're still going for it. They don't look like they're going to quit anytime soon. They're going pretty deep, even though Zeratul is not there. Top fort was secured by the Vikings. Keith is dropped to about half health. Are we going to see a hard engage? Maybe not. Keith is just barely alive there. Greymane trying to go in, but Sound Barrier came out. Artanis is in pretty deep, but it looks like he will be able to get a kill. No, he won't. Ends up getting executed there with a little bit of help from Frumgore's Twilight Dream, which did come off cooldown. So the Vikings are coming in fast. They're going to try to get some CC here, especially with Largen in charge picked up for Olaf at 16. He just needs to get into auto range, but his Z is down. So he might not be able to do so, especially with that root coming out there from Arthas. So they are able to escape, and the keep did actually end up falling there. So really strong push there from NAAS, even if they did lose Artanis in the process. That's definitely going to be an advantage in their favor as the game progresses, the fact that they have that constant pressure in the bot lane. But for the time being, that does mean that they are going to lose half this Immortal basically for free. As it is going to drop pretty low there. Yep, we see it going away. In the meantime, we see that the members of NAAS are kind of coming back in. So they are in the vicinity. They're going to grab this Bruiser first, which also means even more free damage, though, onto this Immortal, which is dropping to like 3/4 health. Will they be able to get some kills here? I do not know. They're definitely looking for it. Zeratul's going to come in looking for the VP. He gets it. It's going to be enough to secure the kill on Greymane. Johanna is also all alone as the other members are still in the VP. Singed Dragosa coming out, slowing them even more. No one on NAS is really that low. We see Wales is going ham there. I guess he did drop, but he's sustaining. That's what the word I was trying to say, with a little bit of help from Lucio there. And so that is 2 members going down plus a Viking or more. We see nice catch there with the root from Arthas, rather. Man, I hate having Arthas and Artanis in the same game. Like, I can keep them separate when they're in other games, but for whatever reason, they're just so close, I can't keep it straight otherwise. So we see that they are moving towards the core. Closest one coming up is going to be Greymane, so it's just Li Ming with the one-man defense, basically. And the core is dropping pretty quickly. The Vikings, are they going to be able to do anything? Wafflecopter almost falls, is going to go down to the core there, but will Li Ming be able to kill anyone else? Maybe, trying to get the kill on Mockery. We see Mockery is going to go down, but it looks like it will be sufficient for NAAS to take the victory there. So good job on them being able to secure that at the end there with that really solid push, and not going for the Immortal. Also, really bright decision there. Something that I kind of realized that. So if, my goodness. What I'm trying to say is that something that kind of separates, actually, let me switch over. Hold on, I'll be right back. I just want to, before I leave this, I'm going to make sure that my freaking email doesn't go out again. So I'm going to switch over to a different screen, and then I'll be back in like 3 seconds. All right, it took a little bit longer than 3 seconds, but I think we're back in it. I don't know why. Okay, there it is. It's just taking a second to load up. So, all right, so that was game number 2 there of the mock recast, as it were. So I've got 1 more to go, and then after that, we might do some other shenanigans. We are ready to go. So once again, real quickly, I'm just going to bring my face back up real quickly to talk about the draft, since this is a different map this time. Hold on, let me like unpause it for a second so the final hero loads in. There we go. So this is going to be on a Cursed Hollow, as it were. It looks like we have Mockery on the Tassadar once again. This is the game, I saved the best for last. Apparently Mockery said that this is the game that he really wanted to have cast, so it's the one I'm going to be doing. So we have Mockery on the Tassadar, Super Boss Guy on the Rhaegar, Wafflecopter on the Falstad. It looks like Gilderic on Greymane again, and Wales on, why does it keep moving me over there? What is NAAS Dorm Team? Yes, so both of these are Dorms teams. This is a recast of sorts, because Mockery, one of the players, as you can see right here, on, oh my goodness, stop that freaking map. If I pull it over here, what is happening? I want to let me move left. Did I lock the screen again? All right, there we go. So yeah, anyway, these are two Dorms teams. I'm just doing a recast at the request of a Poison who plays Tassadar a lot, it would seem. So looking at the comps just real quickly before I go through the full recast. So we have Arthas as the tank for the team. Really powerful tank right now, as I'm sure many of you are aware. Kind of, in my opinion, not really in the same position as Johanna or Murden, his ability to solo frontline, especially against heavy spell damage teams. But as we can see, it's really only Li Ming. I guess Vala does spell damage as well, so I guess that kind of counts. But I think Arthas should work here, especially considering Greymane is kind of like a pseudo bruiser, and that there are two supports in both Rhaegar and Tassadar, so he should be able to sustain relatively easily. So I like this composition a lot. You have Falstad for the global, Greymane for just tremendous amounts of damage. Basically, Greymane and Vala, the two best range damage dealers in the game right now, just because of their versatility as well as strength on particular maps, and most notably Battlefield, as we've seen in the past 2 games. Then we have Rhaegar, who's kind of like the tier 2 support, so you have like Lucio and Malfurion, who are the best by basically all metrics, and then Rhaegar, who's like, if you can't get one of those, that's who you grab instead. They're actually sometimes, especially earlier this morning, if any of you guys got to catch HGC China, I believe it was Hot's Lady was running Illidan comps, and they actually ran Rhaegar deliberately with to have the ancestral value. So anyway, so the team works really well here, especially having Tassadar to enable the Greymane. Once again, this is a few patches ago, so this is pre-nerf Tassadar, so he's still just as strong as ever. And in the right corner, that's actually interesting, even the games pods looks like there's some physics going on there. But anyway, so we see it's going to be Varian, Artanis, Li Ming, Vala, and Lucio. So double frontliner, which is nice. It's pretty much seen all the time nowadays. It's very rare to see a comp without double warrior, or at least some semblance of it. That being said, like we have it over here, but you kind of have Greymane who kind of works similar to like Zeratul, or at least double frontliner, if not double warrior. You might have something like a Ragnaros or a Thrall. But anyway, so we have Varian and Artanis in the front lane. Going to be a little weak early on having that Varian, but after he picks up Taunt, that'll be a really strong front line composition there for Varian taking most of the damage, Artanis being a bit more of a bruiser, and then you have your burst with Li Ming, also really good poke for stopping the tributes. We have the Vala for just the constant auto attack pressure, as well as a little bit of burst if she goes multi-shot build, and then we have the Lucio for just the general super strong AoE healing, as well as other support. So anyway, now that we've talked about the draft, I'll move into things and act like this hasn't been recorded. So alrighty, here we go. So in the left corner for NAAS, we have Wafflecopter on Falstad, Mockery on the Tassadar, Super Boss Guy on the Rhaegar, and Gilderic once again on the Greymane. And chilling in base, we have Wales on the Arthas, and in the right corner on Miasma, I believe the full name is Miasma Esports, we have D-Steves on Vala, Vestige on Varian, Necromongers on Li Ming, Zero Max on the Lucio, and I cannot see Artanis' name, so as soon as he moves, there we go, A Rubies on Artanis. So we'll be moving into things shortly. Looking at the comps, the solo laners for both teams looks like it'll probably be Falstad, Arthas, or Tassadar as the solo laners, just because all 3 of those actually work pretty well in the solo lane for NAAS. For Miasma, I guess it'll be Artanis and maybe Varian. Speaking of which, however, I just realized that the volume is still super loud, so let me tone that down. I should write a strongly worded email. There we go. So that's much better. The first thing I'm going to note is that it's going to be Gathering Storm Falstad, so that's a bit interesting there. Going to go the more spell-oriented Falstad build, which makes me wonder if he's actually going to be in the solo lane. Hold on, big swap on the Super Boss Guy who's dropping low, getting chased by Zero Max as well as A Rubies. Will they be able to secure the kill? Looks like he's actually going to be able to get away with help there from that Wolfie movement speed. So anyway, as I was saying, I'll be a little surprised if Falstad is in the solo lane, having taken Gathering Storm. One of the reasons that the Season Marksman build has become so much more popular is that if you do have someone like a Falstad who's just going to be sitting, pushing a lot of the times, you're going to get no Gathering Storm values. You have to hit heroes to stack that, whereas Season Marksman, you get value just by killing Le Minions. So anyway, we see Wells is in a little bit of trouble there. Super Boss Guy is in the vicinity, so it actually he's turned into a 3v2 now. Now it is Arthas who is in trouble. Looks like they've played themselves to be able to secure the kill on Vestige. Yes, they will. Does not have shield wall available yet, so it looked like not even a catch on Arthas there, considering that 2 members of NAS were in the vicinity. We're actually able to get 2 kills there, so that's going to be free damage onto these 4. Zero Max has rotated down in order to make sure they don't miss out on any soaks, so at least they've got that going for them. In the meantime, looks like Necromonger is actually going to be in the solo lane versus Mockery, so I wasn't expecting to be Li Ming. I think Lucio was there earlier, but was forced to leave due to this position. Speaking of Lucio's in a bit of trouble, looks like he should be able to get out. Only 1 or 2 more autos necessary, but with that move speed from riding on the wall, Zero Max was able to escape there, especially with a little help from Accelerando. So I think he might not have tap available. I guess he's just waiting until Amp It Up is up before blowing that to sustain a little bit more. Or he's just taking a sweet time. I guess he doesn't. Okay, there it is. So there's the Amp It Up. So Anyway, the first tribute will be spawning in about 30 seconds. Is either team going to send someone to grab siege camps? I don't know. Greymane can actually sell the siege camps pretty efficiently, as can Rhaegar, honestly. So either of them could pull back and get it. Looks like these Steves on the Vala is moving with Zero Max to grab it after they get this vision. So they're going to try to. In the meantime, in the mid lane, the Steege is doing his best on freaking level 3 variant to try to push them off of the wall, but to no avail, so the wall will fall in favor of NAAS. So what we got going on. So the siege is maybe not picked up. This is a really aggressive early play from NAAS. They're moving in, trying to steal the siege away, it looks like. It is 3v3, but one of those 3 is Varian, so despite being in this really wonky position, especially with Falstad joining the fight, I don't know that Miasma can really take this. Artanis is coming in. Varian does have shield wall now, so he's trying to sustain. He is going to drop, however. Li Ming has joined the fray. The siege is stolen away by Gilderoy. Mockery has arrived as well to help keep it alive. Rubies has dropped really low, is trying to get some autos in to keep his shield up, but will be unable to do so. Whale's just barely surviving. It looks like we'll actually drive to the Lucio, but Vala is going to drop as well, so the super early aggression has paid off big time for NAAS, as they have been able to not only get an advantage in kills there, but also steal away the siege and secure the top tribute basically for free, as well as lots of other soakas they are able to go do so. So I don't know if I've ever seen that before, where the team just goes for the hard invade of the siege. That would be why they grabbed that vision early on, if you guys saw that on the mini-map, is so that they would know when and who was going for it, so they could try to move in there when they wanted to. So something else is that we see Mockery is going auto-tech build again, so it appears to really like that auto-tech Tassadar over Scion Fusion, but even the Q build, at least on these particular maps, I recognize that Q build's not near as popular if you're not on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, where you can get those double globes really easily by alternating between the lanes. So anyway, it is going to be already a almost level and a half lead in favor of NAAS here. As they are doing work on these lanes, getting those kills, being 5-1. Are they going to look for more aggression? I do not know. They're actually kind of split right now, so they might just kind of play the rest of the game honestly, now that they have that early advantage and have level 7 talents. Speaking of early advantage, the Super Boss guy did drop really low, but once again, Miasma just not quite able to secure the kill. It does look like they are suffering from having that early game variant, who is basically just Olaf, maybe a little bit more survivable if you do end up going the shield wall talent. So anyway, we see NAAS pinging for their own siege, so Rhaegar, actually they already cleared it, I didn't see that earlier, so they went ahead and pre-cleared the siege, knowing that Miasma was so far behind, there's no way they could afford to go check it. They wait to get the timing on it, so that it will be pushing right when the tribute spawns, or roughly when the tribute spawns, and nothing else. We see, once again, a bit of a gank attempt from Miasma. They're not able to get much out of it. This is excellent siege positioning for NAAS, the fact that it did spawn in the bot here. If they can stall it out, they're just going to get a lot of free damage on the top lane. Also perfect timing as well, as the siege is arriving just when the tribute is spawning. That being said, in the mid lane, we see Varian is also going to go down, so honestly, at this point, if I were Miasma, I would just tell Artanis to stay. It looks like that's what he's going to do, and so just clear that siege camp instead. There's no way you get this tribute. This is also not going to be that great for Miasma later on, as after this tribute goes over to NAAS, since it is in this really good defensive positioning, the next one will not be, unless I'm mistaken, and they will actually be, since the first one I think was up here, that means that the next one will be either here or here for NAAS, so it'll be really easy for them to grab, especially, oh my goodness, this is just so bad for Miasma right now. If this boss is taken, they can't even afford to try to contest it. So the boss is going to be taken, it's going to be pushing not roughly the same time as the curse, so we'll have to decide whether or not to clear the boss, whether or not they contest the curse. So if it does spawn up here, that spells really bad news for Miasma. We've seen Necromongers did check it, but was not able to do anything about it, as the boss is picked up. They don't even really have the means to commit to the boss themselves, instead of just going for the Bruiser camp. So it looks like the members of NAAS are going to try to push with this boss. I don't think there's anything that can really stop them. Heroics are right around the corner for them. A little bit more soak, plus a couple structures will be more than enough to seal that for them. So we see Heroics picked up, go for the throat for the Greymane. We see Mighty Gust on the Falstad. Force Wall once again for the Tassadar. And currently Arthas and Rhaegar both holding on to theirs, so haven't quite decided yet. We do see it is going to be Army of the Dead coming out for the Arthas, and Ancestral Healing for the Rhaegar. So Tribute is spawning, and as I said, here it is, super defensive positioning, nothing that Miasma can really do about it. And so that is going to be a curse with a boss still up. Not for long, it will actually drop soon. But nonetheless, a boss still up for NAAS. We see that Rubies is doing his best on the top, is actually able to clear that front wall, so trying to get some value wherever they can. It looks like NAAS wants a keep, so instead of just picking up the other two forts, they're going deep right now. They recognize that Heroics is not available for Miasma. and so they're just going to clear this front wall, try to find some kills. I imagine that Wesley's going to go in as soon as he sees the opportunity. We see the Earth Shield. What was that shield? Oh, it was the Task Shield. My bad. Task Shield going onto the Arthas there. Maybe as a means to let him go in, but he actually decided not to anyway. Does have Palace Celerity. Oh, so Force Wall comes out. D-Steve ends up dropping immediately. Varian is in there, but still does not have his heroic, so he's not going to be able to tank all that much. Swap attempt there does not land on anybody. Keep is not firing. Curse still up for 28 seconds. It is going to go down basically for free. Necromonger is doing his best to try to poke away at them, but it's just not doing anything. Force Wall securing the retreat there. For the members of NAAS as they walk away with that free keep. They're going to steal the siege as well, so they're just taking everything they can away from Miasma as heroics are picked up for them. We see Sound Barrier on the Lucio, taunt on the Varian, who's looking to try to find a way in. Azirmax is kind of cut off from him. Man, why can't you grab on the Force Wall? That makes no sense at all. So Vestige going to try to maybe find a fight. We see Wafflecopter jumps in the back, ends up getting the Gust on Lucio and Varian, but is in deep trouble. Is going to drop to the Li Ming damage. We see the fight is still going on where Lucio is actually kind of forced back, but he's also in a good position to get off some boops there, forcing Wes a little bit back into the team. Strafe coming out from the Vala Sound Barrier as well to help them engage. We see another attempt to disengage with the Taskar wall, but it looks like it is actually going to be both Arthas and Greymane falling. Ooh, are they going to get Mockery as well? Good swap there. Does he have Dimensional Shift available? Even if he did, I don't know if he had the mana, so he's actually going to drop as well. So that was an excellent fight there for Miasma, but unfortunately they still wound up losing a keep, and they're actually still over a full level behind. So even though that was really good for them getting to get a lot of that revenge kill EXP there and not losing anyone in the process, they still don't really have a leg to stand on. Bot keeps down. They've only really killed front wall. They have no tributes. I just don't know what Miasma can do to get back into it. It really was just a misplay from NAS losing all of that, but at the same time, they're kind of still in the lead. They've got 13 talent advantage, and it's going to be a while before Miasma has it, so it looks like they're posturing to maybe steal boss away, and they're just going to constantly have this bot lane pushing in, especially considering that globals are only in the favor of NAS having that Falstad pick on Wafflecopter, or Wafflecopter on the Falstad pick. One of the two, and so it looks like they're going to try to defend this fort, but Varian is busy clearing the catapult bot lane, so it's going to be a 3v5 as Li Ming is soaking as well, so NAS realizes they have the advantage. They don't need the soak, so instead they're just going to try to take the structures. Really smart macro play here from NAS, as they're going to be able to get that port for free, just taking their advantage and not letting it go. One of the worst things you can do if you have a lead is just kind of like let it be, if that makes any sense at all. If you like the only times like a lead doesn't matter if you do nothing with it. Like if you have the lead and you just kind of like let the game continue until you lose, if that makes any sense at all, and then obviously it's not great for you. So you need to do things with that lead, like take the boss, take the forts, like use the fact that you have a talent advantage, force fights, do whatever you can. So they're gonna try to force the fight on the boss. Varian is not there yet. Boss is dropping pretty quickly. He has about a third health left. We see a swap there on a super boss guy who's dropping pretty low. Sound Barrier comes up to keep the members of Miasma healthy. Force Wall trying to seclude the members of Miasma, not quite working. Prestige has arrived to the party. Who will this boss go over to? Gust is available. Lucio is actually going to go down. Is anyone else going to follow D-Steve trying to secure a kill with Vault, but excuse me, with Strafe, but not having any luck with it. Arubius is going down. Nice and social on the Wafflecopter, keeping him alive. D-Steve is going to drop. Super boss guy low in the bag, but no one can get to him. The boss is eventually going to fall. Two whales there. We see Gildrick was doing damage in the bot, excuse me, in the area there, but Necromonger was not able to get out quick enough. Is going to fall to the Falstad as well as the Arthas, and so that is boss going over to NAAS once again, as is going to start marching towards this top lane. So I was actually a little worried for NAS at the beginning there, but they were able to walk over that pretty easily. It's a really strong play so far. This boss is going to start marching towards the keep. 15-12 lead. I don't even know if 13 is going to get picked up for Miasma before this boss is marching on the court. Has full health. Things are not looking good for them at all. Especially if any picks go over to NAAS, they're just going to basically lose outright. Varian clearing the Catas in the bot lane, trying to keep them off of the court, prevent them from doing any damage to it before the boss arrives. Boss is about half health. We see a swap there onto the Arthas. Arubius is going in, but he's already dropping super low. Lucio trying to keep him alive. Sound Barrier not available for another 10 seconds. Force Wall secluding him. Rubies is going to drop, I believe, to the damage there. Li Ming not able to secure any kills. Vestige is in deep and might die as well. Necromonger is getting absolutely shredded by Gildrick here. Vestige is going to eventually drop. Nice Force Wall there, secluding Zermax as well. D-Steve's once again trying to get a kill with Strafe, but is not quite able to push someone over the edge there, as she's the only one left alive. The boss is working away on the core, as are the other 5 members of NAAS, so it is going to drop there. So once again, really strong play from NAAS, and I'm beginning the suspect Mockery just picked the games that he thought were the best stomps. I was like, hey, we did really well here. Let's stream that one. That deserves a recast. So yeah, they definitely showed that they deserve the play, but at the same time, it just really did seem like you usually don't see games in that quickly, especially like with such early game pressure there onto the siege camp without a little bit of a disparity in the skill level there. So I'm going to once again switch over to the screen just so I can log back in without having you people see my email, since I accidentally left that through once already. So I'm going to switch over to the BRB screen. Should only take a few seconds, and then I will be back over and we will do the final stream tie-up things just real quickly. So hold on.